Here's Don Lemon, and I want to give you two clips. I'm going to play Don Lemon, and I'm going to play Chris Cuomo, okay? Both were at CNN. Obviously, Don Lemon was never at the levels of Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was a face of CNN, but Don Lemon was a guy that at one point, he used to say some things that was actually pretty solid, right? But I'm talking 10 years ago, a long time ago, right? I don't know if you have the Don Lemon or not. Here's what he says. Don Lemon says Trump should lower the temperature, stop threatening democracy following assassination attempt. That's what he is saying, okay? So he urged Trump to stop threatening the second assassination attempt. If Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he has to stop being a threat to democracy. Trump, is this him, by the way? Or, yes. Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Crooked Joe, Crooked Hillary, Crooked Kamala, Comrade Kamala, Deranged Jack Smith, Bird Brain Nikki Haley, Bloodbath if he's not elected. There won't be another election if he's not elected. Bringing drugs or bringing crime, they're rapists. Poisoning the blood of our country, destroying the blood of our country, which was something that was Hitler-esque. Communist, Marxist, fascist, left-leaning that live like vermin. Sons of bitches to NBA players. Shithole countries. Haiti was one, and now he's blaming Haitian immigrants for things. Blood coming out of her wherever, as he talked about Megyn Kelly. And so if Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy. Perhaps he shouldn't be trying to overturn elections, overthrow the government, and inciting insurrections if he doesn't want people to be honest about what he is, who he is, and what he's doing.
So this is Don Lemon, Hillary. Back on CNN. You're seeing him on CNN all the time, okay? Now here's his colleague, Chris Cuomo, who's at News Nation, okay? Who's at News Nation. Here's how he reacted to the assassination attempt. It's slightly different than Don Lemon. I'll let you be the judge of it. Go ahead, Rob.
And you can think what you want about Trump. He does not have many more full-throated critics of what he says and does than me. Okay? And yet I called him today because I am ashamed of how we are responding and not responding to the threats on him. And I feel for his family. And I know you can roll your eyes and say, oh, yeah, he asked for it. Listen. That's your choice, and I think it's a wrong choice.
Who's he talking to?
The people that are saying
Lemon. We got to get out of the judgment business unless it's judging ourselves. And you got to start rewarding things that are better. And I got to tell you, I don't know how he stays in the race. I don't know how he got up after being shot in the head. And you people who try to mitigate that, you need to check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself. Say it.
That's right.
Yeah. He gets up, pumping his fist, stays in the race, barely even talks about it. Now, look, I do believe he has wasted opportunities, and he has another one now. Who better than Trump to say, we can do better? I can do better. I know he keeps doubling down on his angry rhetoric. How can he not? It keeps working for him. I don't know that it gets him elected. My theory is that he needs to expand. He had a chance to do it after.
Has he said that he called him or not yet?
The target of an assassination.
Okay, you can stop it right there.
At the RNC.
You got two different guys. You got Lemon, Cuomo, both no longer with CNN. One still has a good relationship with CNN, keeps going back on. Chris, Independent News Nation, they're doing great. Tom, how do you process these two different approaches?
So I see a very rational approach coming from Chris. And Chris has consistently, and still is now, a critic of Trump, his methods, and some of his policies. As a matter of fact, right after he does this, I think a day later, he was talking about he disagreed with this policy. And so I think Chris is out there. Lemon is just coming back, trying to find legitimacy, and he's doing it by just throwing red meat to the Democrat liberal crowd. And sits there with, I think it was Aaron Burnett. And Aaron Burnett didn't look convinced. And plus, Lemon's going down a list that's like 3 years long. How about if someone else goes down a list of what the Democrats have said to and about Trump in an inflammatory way? I think Lemon is really disingenuous about calling it as if this is a one-way street, an attack on democracy. And if we want to talk about attack on democracy, we have one of the first presidential candidates in history that never went through a primary process. after we actually held a primary process. So I think Lemon is looking for, he's looking for headlines. He's trying to reestablish his legitimacy, and he's just throwing blood to the dogs and getting people to react to it. When you could do the same thing about the Democrat candidates. And now you got Chris saying, hang on a second. You know what? We're not Venezuela. We're not Mexico, where how many candidates have been assassinated just this year in Mexico in areas controlled by the cartels. And what Chris is saying is, hey, you know what? Don't you think about him as a human being? You may not like what he says, may not like what he's doing. And I just felt it was a very balanced, very rational approach to kind of where we are as a country. And Don Lemon, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It was just disingenuous.
Yeah. By the way, again, Don, of all people, and I get Chris has had his history, and and our audience, everybody knows about the COVID stuff and all that stuff. But Chris has turned a completely new leaf, and I respect the hell out of him for just being completely honest. Don Lemon, zero respect. By the way, you were fired, and you're showing up at your old job, just hanging out and still talking the same BS that you've been talking about since 2016, right? He was fired, right, Rob?
And he's showing up for free.
And he's showing up for zero money.
He used to get paid to go on CNN and give his commentary. Now it's worth nothing.
Zero, and nobody cares. And all that stuff that he said, Pat, about Trump says mean, again, since 2016, he's saying mean things. How many assassination attempts on Biden? How many assassination attempts on Kamala, on Barack, on Bill Clinton? Zero. Nobody believes your bullshit. It's all that side coming after us, okay? And since 2016, and when you call somebody Hitler, since 2016, he is Hitler. And finger on the nuke, Hitler. What do people do when you call somebody Hitler? The guy that killed over 12 million people, 6 million Jews. What type of rhetoric is that? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I think something about Don Lemon, he has that Hillary factor. They keep showing up like a fly at a barbecue. You're like just get the hell away.
Like the fly on Mike Pence's head that wouldn't go away.
Exactly. So I just think it's ridiculous, Pat. And it's like these people don't realize we're thinking past Trump, life after Trump, because that same media, the same lying BS they're going to do to anybody that comes in that goes against their narrative.
What's the strategy? Accuse the
other of what you're doing. It's that's projection. I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm just tired of listening.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory. But Adam, let's see what you're going to say, and then I'll
you know what I really haven't noticed about the people that don't like Trump and attack Trump? They never rarely, if ever, attack his policies. Interesting, right?
Yeah, weird.
It's always attacking the personality. So, and that's actually easy to do with Trump. That's not hard to do. We get it. He's a sensationalist. He's sort of a shock jock. He's outrageous. The rhetoric is, that's Trump. We get it. But that's the easy thing to do, Don Lemon. The harder thing to do is actually examine his policies and say, yep, I don't actually like the drill, baby, drill. And here's why. I'll tell you why. But you don't really hear that. Hey, actually, I don't like the fact that they should remain in Mexico. And here's the reason why we should have open borders. Yeah, I don't know about that. I actually don't like the fact that he wants NATO to pay. And maybe we should diagnose it. I never hear that. I always hear he's a threat to democracy. And all he does is say ridiculous things. And he belittles people. We know this. Yeah. We know this about Trump. But guys, go deeper. And the reason that I like what Cuomo's doing is that at least he's being rational. He's like, look, dude, what are the chances, by the way, that Cuomo's voting for Trump? I'm putting that very close to zero. I don't know if it's zero. Very little, though. But at least he has the rationality to say, look, man, this is getting way over the top. Cooler heads need to prevail. There's now talk of that maybe there was a third assassination attempt that we didn't even hear about.
Chemicals at one of the
rallies. We don't even know what's going on there.
Eyes are burning.
So the whole threat to democracy, the whole look, I was not a fan of January 6th. Say what you want. Whether you want to call it an insurrection or just
nobody was charged with insurrection.
Or a parade that got a little angry. Whatever it was, I wasn't a fan of that. But I very rarely hear people attack Trump's policies. And at this point, I mean, it's taken me 4 years to do this. I'm solving for policies at this point because we can go personality with Trump. We can go personality with Kamala and the cackling Kamala and the I get it. But I'm solving for policies. And if you compare Trump's policies to Kamala's policies, it isn't even close.
So here's what's the way I see this with Chris. See, the difference between Don and Chris is Chris has a father he admires. Don doesn't have a father he admires. Don's father, he died when he was a child. And Don's father was married to another woman while he was with his mother. There is no relationship with his father. Don didn't grow up with a relationship with his father. If you look at most people from the certain communities, they don't have a relationship with their fathers. So he can't emotionally connect to your father potentially being killed twice. Chris can. Chris had a father that was a beloved, admired, respected governor, crushed it. By the way, this isn't Don Lemon's fault. Don Lemon didn't do anything wrong. This has got nothing to do with Don Lemon. This guy grew up without a father. You know, when you read these reports, I'm finding this story here, Rob. I'll send it to you from The Sun. And it's telling this, because I'm sitting here saying, how does Don not realize the pain of losing your father? Like, what would that happen? And I realized, it's right there. Go all the way down, by the way. Type in Control F 2011. Type in Control F 2011. Go to right there. Don revealed in 2011 that his father was married to another woman while in a relationship with his mother. Okay. When he died, on the other hand, Don's mother was also married to another man, but divorced him because he was treating her. So
he has some trauma in his life, obviously.
None of this started the right way. And in the story, it says that he was a child when he lost his father. Okay, so we don't know context, right? Yeah. Why a man behaves the way he does. If you go a little lower, Rob, the picture with Don's father in the red shirt right there. So what does he say right there? It says, Lemon was born, his father, right there. His father, Wilman, passed away when Don was a child and Catherine Wright and his last surviving parent, right? So on the other hand, go type in Mario Cuomo. Just type in Mario Cuomo, okay? And go to images. Just go to images, okay? That's Mario Cuomo. Look at the son. Look at the father and son. Look where Andrew has his hand.
Right there.
Go all the way to the left. No, go all the way to the left, right there. Look at that right there.
That's love.
That's just emotional, man. The father and son relationship. The son wants to be like his father. He became a 2-time governor because of his father. They love their dad. They love their mom. Forget their policies. They have the right. They have values as a family that protect each other, right? And Chris feels that. If his dad was assassinated, what would Chris do?
Oh, my God.
The pain you go through from losing a father, right? That is the difference when you have certain context to understand what you expect. Like, yesterday I had Stephen Baldwin on the podcast. His podcast goes out tomorrow. Do you know this Stephen Baldwin, the youngest Baldwin brother, right? Been married to his wife for 34 years. His son-in-law is Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is married to his daughter.
Haley.
Just so you know that, okay? Haley is his daughter, okay? Yeah. And he introduced Haley to Justin Bieber many, many years ago when they were kids, right? Younger. Yeah, of course, there's a video of it. But here's the thing. You know how the whole podcast started? All about the family. Do you know Alec Baldwin was the president of his high school in 9th grade? He won. Okay. He won 10th grade. He won 10th grade. He won 11th grade. He won 12th grade. Wow. Do you know his father said the campaign for senior year to win high school president, you know what it was? It was called sex all over the school. You know why it was called sex? It said students endorse Xander because Alexander, they used to call him Xander.
Wow.
Alec Baldwin's real name is Alexander. The father called him Xander. Right there, look at that. Xander Baldwin. That's what his name was in high school. Huh. So the admiration these kids have for the father, they have 6 kids, 4 sons, all end up in Hollywood. Because this guy, do you know what he wanted to do? Do you know what Alec Baldwin wanted to do?
No.
He wanted to go into politics. You know what he majored in Georgetown? Political science. Because he wanted to go into politics.
Poli-sci.
That's right. And guess what happened? Why he stepped away, based on what Steven said. He said he ran for president of Georgetown as a freshman or whatever year it was, or senior. He failed. He says, I'm not meant for politics. Left, goes to acting school, the main acting school in New York. What is that called? Studying the main person. There's a name for it. That's what okay. I don't know if that wasn't. Maybe it's a different one. It's a name everybody knows. You'll hear or see on the podcast. He goes there, comes back. Dad's like, "What are you doing going into acting?" Comes back and says, "Dad, I'm making $5,000 a week." He says, "You're making what?" He was on the Doctor, whatever show. I think there was a show
General
called
Hospital.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So he's making $5,000 a week. But what's the moral? You can sit there and not like Alec Baldwin, but that's the one. Lee Strasberg. That's the one he went to. Yeah. You can sit there and not like Alec Baldwin and for whatever he does. But look, man, the father and the mother kept that family together. So Cuomo understands what it is to have a great father. Lemon does not. To Lemon, it's just another man who's going to get killed. Who cares? I got to move on. It's his fault. It's not my fault. I'm going to do my thing. He's going to do his thing. I mean, but the reality of it is, this is a moment where somebody gets to sit there and see Cuomo as a person who cares and says, hey, man, let me just drop him a call. And maybe he's changing. Maybe he's going through whatever he's going through. And, you know, it's never a good thing to have influence from a podcast called Peabody Podcast. You got to be careful when you go to Peabody Podcast.
You got to be really, really careful.
These are all the Baldwin brothers.
All the Baldwin blood.
Look at these guys. By the way, I wish we got to hear that phone call. Like, who is this? And he's like, it's Chris. You better say you're sorry. And then let's continue this conversation.
Did Cuomo say you actually spoke to Trump?
Yeah, he said he spoke with him.
He did.
He talked to him.
He said he called him. I don't know if he
called him. Well, if he's trust me, he's going to get through.
I knew you'd call me again.
For the last 9 months, we built this news site, hired 15 machine learning guys. If you haven't yet subscribed, there's 3 tiers: freemium, $4.99, $19.99. $19.99 gives you the whole thing. Lopsided timelines. You can find out AI questions, unlimited questions. It costs us a lot of money the more questions you ask, but this is not just like any question you want to ask. You can go on there and, type in, like, here, go to the first one right there. What does it say? What are the top 5 events today? Let's type that and go to it, Rob. Let's see what it comes up. It answers the questions for you with our AI. It's got the lopsided stories. Here we go. So based on the recent news articles, here, United States ranks amongst the lowest developed nations overall healthcare performance despite spending the most on healthcare. Nevada Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar is focused on election integrity and workers' protection, including passing a bill. This is just right now, like what people are thinking about right now, the last hour. Over 20 women have been accused of the late billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed of sexual assault, including 5 claims of rape, as revealed in a BBC documentary. Anduril Industries has partnered with Microsoft to enhance the U.S. Army's integral visual augmentation system, integrating its Lattice software to improve. Cool. Various organizations are working to protect voting rights and enhance civic engagements as 2024 engagements are coming around the corner. There's so many different elements to VTnews.ai. This is going to be the aggregator many will be using moving forward. I want to encourage you, go to VTnews.ai, Rob, put the link below in the chat section, comment section. Go test it out for yourself.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.